You know what's kind of wild to me? That some of the most normal things in our culture are also things that are quietly draining our bank account and our peace of mind. And the thing is, I don't think any of these things are actually making us any happier. Today I'm sharing 20 frugal habits that I think we should normalize. Things that might feel a little bit dull or boring, but in reality can help us save serious money, reduce clutter, lower our stress levels, and most importantly, I think can help us lead a happier, more intentional life. These are things that I've been doing for a long time, and not only have they helped me save money, but they've also helped my financial life feel more stable and secure. And I have never felt like I was compromising in any way. In fact, I think that living this way is adding to my happiness. This just feels like good sense to me, even if in today's world, the opposite is often considered normal. I have my green tea here with elderflower and jasmine. It's really nice. So as always, feel free to grab yourself something nice too if you want, and let's talk about it. Number one is outfit repeating to special events. It is so normal to feel like you kind of have to buy yourself a new outfit or a new dress for every kind of event you attend. Like maybe it's wedding season, you might feel like you have to have a new dress every wedding that you go to. This might be because you know that people are going to be taking pictures and you don't want to wear the same dress or the same outfit in every picture. Maybe it is more so the embarrassment. When I was still living a life where I actually had sometimes these kinds of events to go to, I would also kind of just feel embarrassed wearing the same thing every day because it kind of signals like, oh, she really likes that dress, huh? Like she's wearing it every time. And I think we should normalize outfit repeating when it comes to these kinds of events. Maybe you have a few different outfits that you kind of rotate in between. I think having to buy yourself something new for every time is so expensive, and it is also really wasteful. And I also think, you know, with the spotlight effect, you might think that everyone is going to notice that you wore the same thing twice or 3 times. But I actually think that many people might not notice because, you know, people are not paying as much attention to us as we feel that they might be. Every time you re-wear something, you are lowering the cost per wear. So if you buy a $200 dress, but you wear it 20 times, then it's only 10 per wear. And that is so much more doable than having to buy yourself something new every time. And also, if you have something that you love to wear, that you feel good in and confident in and comfortable in, I say wear the heck out of it, wear it again and again, because that should be normal. Number 2 is delayed gratification, making yourself wait for things. I think waiting for something that you really want can only be a good thing. It's fun and it can even like kind of elevate the whole experience. In fact, we Dutch people have a word for this. It is called voorpret. It kind of means anticipatory joy. Just the joy of looking forward to something. And when you practice delayed gratification, you can only kind of stretch that joy. So you're not just feeling the excitement when you buy the thing, but also there is the anticipation of it. Nowadays, we're kind of trained to want what we want and to want it now. And we need it fast and we need it delivered tomorrow, and we act on impulse. And when everything kind of becomes instant, it is more difficult to resist the impulse purchases, but it also kind of makes things feel a little bit less special, and that's where it also relates to money. First of all, when you get used to waiting a little bit before, you know, giving into every impulse, you have the opportunity to think about it if this is actually something that you really want or need, or if it was just a moment of impulse excitement. And second, when you do decide to get something, it's going to be intentional. You've already looked forward to it. Maybe you've shopped around for it a little bit, compared products, compared prices. Maybe you will value it more, therefore you'll take better care of it. It's going to last you longer. So overall, I feel like practicing delayed gratification can really help reduce how much we spend. And also there's the anticipation is almost going to be just as enjoyable as the thing itself. Number 3 of the frugal habits that I think we should normalize is streaming service hopping. This one is quite simple, but can really help save serious money. It's somehow become normal to have like 3 or 4 or even 5 streaming services running at the same time. And because all of the payments are like relatively small individually, it might not feel like it's such a big deal, but when you add them all up together, it costs a lot of money. So what I recommend and what I do myself is streaming service hopping. Just using one streaming service, I watch everything that I want to watch on there, the movies, the shows. I will cancel it and I will stream something else, and then I'll watch everything on there. There's really no need to have multiple of them running at the same time, because most of us don't even have enough time to fully use them all. So you might have some subscriptions active that you haven't actually used in months. Number 4 is not spending when everyone else is. Sometimes it feels like everyone around us is spending money, and it can feel a little awkward or uncomfortable to be the only one who's not participating. It can feel a little boring or stingy, or you don't want to be the odd one out, or maybe you just don't feel like explaining yourself to others. This can be about eating out or ordering expensive drinks or going on shopping trips with people, but also holiday spending and gift giving. And I think it can be fun to join in sometimes, but I do kind of want to feel like, for me, it is worth the cost. And of course, sometimes fun things cost money, and that is perfectly okay. But I also think it should be normalized to just be able to say like, okay, I'm gonna sit this one out. There are many ways that we can enjoy spending time with people and connecting with people that don't cost an arm and a leg. And I think it's fine to just show up as our authentic selves and talk about these things. I'm still not used to having my hair down. It's not something that I normally do because I like it when it's tied back in some way, but I don't know, it's distracting. Number 5 of the frugal habits I think we should normalize is regifting and homemade gifts. There is such a huge pressure to buy everyone gifts, and also to buy people fancy gifts or expensive gifts around the holidays, around their birthday, and this can lead to huge expenses that some people are even willing to go into debt for. And it's not just the cost, but it's also the clutter, because these obligatory gifts where you have to give someone a gift but you don't really know that person, so you just give them something random and now they're stuck with that thing. I feel like it's really kind of wasteful. And I get that it can be a little awkward being the only one who doesn't do these things, but I think we should also be okay with giving people easier gifts, cheaper gifts, regifting something that we already have but we cannot really use anymore, but we feel like this other person might really enjoy it, or giving them something homemade. Like, it can be so nice to give someone homemade cookies or homemade granola, and it shows that you really care. Gifts don't have to be expensive in order to be meaningful, and for me personally, I also just have kind of decided with a few people in my life that we're just not going to do gifts most of the time. Number 6, bringing your own boring food to work. I remember when I was working in an office, and it somehow became this like trend of everyone bringing their own lunch to work, but it was super fancy and like lavish, and it had all these different ingredients. And it was like the fancier the better, and people were kind of looking at each other's lunch being like, "Ooh, what did you bring today?" And looking back on it, it was so silly. There was just such a pressure to have this like Insta-worthy social media of food to bring with you to work. I think just bringing your own kind of yummy, kind of boring, unaesthetic sandwich or something to lunch is perfectly fine. It shouldn't have to be fancy. It's nice, it's tasty, and it's cheap. And it's nutritious, so I think bringing your own food to work and having it be nice and boring is great. And of course, if you want to treat yourself, you can bring something a little bit more fancy sometimes too. Speaking of which, I also love cooking simple, unaesthetic meals most days of the week. I love food and I love cooking and I love experimenting with new recipes, so I will never be the person on YouTube who's like, I eat the same things every week. That's really not me. However, I do have some super simple, super easy, and super cheap recipes that I make often, like maybe 4 days of the week, 5 days of the week, something like that. I'll make something really easy, and the other days of the week I might experiment and cook something a little bit fancier. And not only does this help me save a lot of time in the kitchen, it also helps me save money, it prevents food waste. And I fell victim to the social media recipe videos of it all, where I felt like all my meals had to be kind of fancy and aesthetic looking, and it really was so expensive to keep up with all these ingredients and different toppings and spices and herbs and everything to like fluff it up. It's nice, but if you do that every day, it's going to make your groceries a lot more expensive. So I kind of quit doing that most days of the week. Number 8, waiting until next month to do something. I also feel like it's becoming less and less normal to just say something like, you know what, I want to do that, but not this month because like it doesn't fit comfortably in my budget this month, so maybe next month. I remember when I was little, my parents never had a lot of money. They had to work really hard and they were living paycheck to paycheck. So I was really used to, certain things not happening right now and maybe next month. So for me, this is really normal. And with how things are now, I feel like this is either kind of awkward to bring up, or companies are more so like, buy it now, pay for it later, which really can be a very scary thing because it can get people into financial trouble. I think we should normalize waiting with spending money when it doesn't fit comfortably in our budget this month. And I think there's nothing shameful or wrong about that. It's actually really good sense. Number 9 is doing staycations instead of going traveling every time. I am such a big fan of staycations and I've been doing them more and more over the recent years. I think they are more restful and there are often so many fun things that you can do just in your own area, and also just having the time to indulge in your own hobbies in your own home. Plus, they are a wonderful way to save a lot of money or just have a mindful, intentional vacation on a budget. And I don't know what it's like where you live, but here in the Netherlands, people love to go on vacation. Everyone goes on vacation. I kind of feel like people want to go at least once a year, but many people I know go multiple times a year. And every time I say like, yeah, I have time off, but I'm staying at home, people kind of look at me funny, like, why aren't you going on vacation? But while I do enjoy the occasional travel, I actually prefer to stay home now most of the time. And I think that should be completely normal. You can decide how you want to spend your precious time off. And doing a fabulous staycation, I think, can be really frugal chic. Number 10 is wearing the same clothes year after year after year. We don't have to keep buying new clothes every year. We just don't. But somehow it is normal to just keep adding to your wardrobe, keep trying to upgrade it. Most people already have enough clothing, and even if there's something specific that you're missing, if you have like an event or an occasion and you need something specific, then usually you can just get that one specific thing and leave it at that. Last year I had the goal of only buying 3 things for my wardrobe max, and I ended up purchasing 2 new pairs of sneakers to replace my worn out sneakers and purchasing 1 hoodie for when I wanted to do my workout in the winter, and that's it. That is all I bought for my entire wardrobe for the entire year. I didn't go into any clothing store, either physical store or online store, and it was great. It really made me see that I already have enough clothing. It also made me identify some small things that I felt like I could use a little bit more of, but overall I loved just using what's already in my closet. And also making do with what I already had gave me such a better sense of my personal style as well. I have items in my wardrobe that are years and years old, like 10 years or longer, and I still wear them, and I will continue to wear them until they fall apart. And some people might think that that is boring, but I actually think this gave me such a higher satisfaction rating of my wardrobe compared to when I was still continually buying new things and I didn't really know what to do. Also related to that is number 11, using the same furniture pieces year after year after year. Just like with fast fashion, there is also now fast decor, and somehow it's become normal to follow trends when it comes to your furniture, design, your decor. And I personally find that to be kind of weird because when it comes to my home and my furniture, I really want things to be here according to my personal style, things that I find to be beautiful and timeless. So I much prefer buying intentional pieces sometimes and then use them year after year than just buying cheaply made fast decor furniture and rotating that out every time there's a new trend. And I think there's something so wonderful about having certain furniture pieces that you've had for 10 years, 20 years. I don't think that's boring. I actually think that only adds to the pieces themselves. And especially if you still love them, you don't have to switch them out every time there's a new trend. Number 12, making your phone last as long as possible. In most places, it is normal to want to switch out your phone every year or every 2 years. And I think that we shouldn't have to do that. And we shouldn't also have to spend an arm and a leg on our phone. I personally always have the goal of trying to make my phone last for at least 5 years. Sometimes I make it, sometimes not quite. Sometimes I have to upgrade a little bit before. but that is the goal that I strive for. And when I do upgrade my phone, you best believe I'm not spending like $1,000 or more on a new phone. I want to have a model that is not as fancy, but will still get updates for a while and save serious money there. For example, my most recent phone, this is the Samsung A56. I got this actually when it just came out, which is very rare for me, not something that I do normally. But this one was, I think, $480, which is still a lot of money, but at least a lot less than some of the fancier models out there. And I pay €9 a month for my data and things like that, and that's it. And I will try to make this last for 5 years again. There is such a pressure to constantly be upgrading our technology, and they always keep like bringing out some kind of new model that's supposed to be revolutionary, but it's only like slightly different in one small thing that doesn't really matter to most people. And it's also not just expensive, but wasteful. So I try to stretch my technology when I can. Number 13, having a low maintenance beauty routine. Having a high maintenance beauty routine can be really expensive to keep up, and we might feel the pressure to get all the things done, like the lashes, the skincare treatments, the nails, dyeing your hair, getting pedicures, whatever else is out there, having a 12-step skincare routine. It's so expensive to keep all of that up, and it also costs a lot of time. And the thing is, I think when we get used to getting all of these things done, it might be kind of difficult to scale back, and it might make us feel insecure, like we really need them to like keep up our thing. I know for me personally, there are still things that of course I enjoy doing, but one of the best things I did to simplify my life was make my beauty routine lower maintenance, where I felt like it wasn't worth it. It saves me money, it saves me time, and it has made me feel more confident. And especially with my skin, I noticed that simple works best. My skin is super sensitive, and when I was using multiple products on it, I was only irritating it further. So just using a nice moisturizer, an SPF, and then if I'm feeling fancy, maybe a serum or an eye cream or something works best for my skin. Number 14 is letting things stay special. I think that not everything needs to be an everyday thing. Like a takeaway coffee tastes great when it's a treat. It kind of feels, cozy and intentional and kind of special. But when it becomes an everyday thing, it kind of stops being special and starts just becoming another expense. Same goes for eating out, ordering in, giving yourself little like treat yourself moments. These are really nice if they are special and only happen sometimes, but when they happen all the time, they kind of lose their magic and can really add up over time. Number 15 is going Dutch. I think splitting the bill shouldn't be awkward, and maybe I am biased because I am Dutch and I still enjoy treating my friends and my family sometimes, but it's also really normal here to just split the bill and have everyone pay for what they ordered. Money can sometimes feel like a bit of an uncomfortable topic, especially when you're with friends or maybe even with family. But I think it can be worth discussing this. It makes everything clear, simple, fair, have everyone just pay for what they ordered. It takes out all the guesswork. It takes out the feeling of, oh, if you're going to order something expensive, then I'm going to have to pay for it. Like, there's this whole thing that if everyone can just pay for what they ordered, it's nice and simple. And that way everyone can decide for themselves however much they are willing and comfortable with spending. Number 16 is going shopping with a budget. If you do go shopping and you do so without an actual plan or a budget, you will probably end up spending more. That's kind of just how it goes. For me, it's with grocery shopping. If I go grocery shopping without a list, I end up buying way more. And if I am hungry and I go grocery shopping without a list, that's where it actually gets dangerous. And I think it's perfectly fine to still enjoy shopping if you do that and go shopping sometimes. But it can really help to have kind of like a boundary or a limit or a plan or a budget to hold yourself to that you can think about beforehand instead of buying everything impulsively. That way you get more intentional, you might compare things, you might look at the price, put some things back, and really curate your shopping basket before you just run to the checkout. 17, using up your cosmetics completely before purchasing something new. Luckily, I think that this is becoming a tiny bit more normal now with the whole Project Pan situation, where people make it a challenge for themselves, where they actually have to use up all of their cosmetics until they hit pan and it actually is completely used up before you purchase something else. And I've been doing this for years, and it really made me see that actually using up your cosmetics fully takes forever. But somehow still in our society, it is still more normal to just keep buying new cosmetics instead of using up the ones that you already have. And especially with things like a blush, it might be like exciting to buy a new blush or a new shade or something shimmery or something not shimmery, but in the end, I kind of feel like a blush is a blush. It's not going to be life-changing, so I might as well just use up the one I already have. I do the same with perfume. It takes me like 2 years to use up my one perfume bottle, and then I buy another one. Skincare, everything, same thing. If you have a ton of beauty products left, then consider doing a project pan. And I think that you will really be shocked to see how long it can take to use up your products. And you might be surprised how much less you're going to be spending. Number 18 is doing yoga or Pilates or workout videos for free at home instead of going to a class. I love doing my workouts for free at home with a YouTube video, and when I tell people this, I sometimes kind of get weird looks where I feel like people might feel like this doesn't count as much, like it's not as good as going to a class. And I think that's kind of weird because there are so many great workout videos on YouTube, so many different genres that you can try, so many talented instructors, and I personally don't see how that is much different from going to a class, doing it at home. The only thing is that no one's going to be checking on you, so you do want to try, your best. But I don't see how it's any less effective this way. If you really enjoy your spin class, for example, or something else where you need some kind of equipment, of course it makes sense to go there, but I think it also should be normalized to just do simple workouts at home, because I think in this case too, simple can work just fine. Even going for a nice walk is great movement for your body, and it's free. Number 19, buying a smaller, cheaper, older home. When we purchased this apartment, we decided to go for a mortgage that was lower than what we were technically allowed to borrow, to try and keep our monthly expenses low and give ourselves more financial breathing room. I looked up the monthly payments for the amount that we were technically allowed to borrow, and I nearly fainted. Like, these payments were so much higher than what we could comfortably afford, and just looking at those numbers made me feel stressed. And housing is expensive, so it's going to be expensive no matter what you do, but I also think that it is considered normal to just kind of go for the highest amount that you can borrow. And I've also talked to people in my own environment who have said that they have bought something kind of bigger and fancier and newer because they kind of felt pressured to, or because of how, it would look and the image that it would present to maybe their family. I think that the truth is that a smaller, less fancy, well-loved home can be just as cozy and nice as a fancier, more expensive one. So when people ask me when we will upgrade or buy something bigger or fancier, and I tell them, I'm happy here, I have everything I need, I have a roof over my head, so I don't think that we are going to do that. Sometimes people look at me a little funny, but I think that, choosing this way of doing things should also be considered more normal. And number 20, accepting who you are and who you are not. Probably the thing that could cost people the most amount of money is fantasy spending, and therefore it can really help to know who you are and who you are not. For example, it took me years of experimenting and shopping for clothes and buying different kinds of styles that I hardly ever wore to fully realize and accept about myself that my fashion style is really simple. And once I accepted this, I stopped shopping. And not only that, but I also now feel much more confident and comfortable in my own clothes because I know that this is my style. When we know who we are, what we enjoy, what we don't, we can kind of stop chasing trends or experimenting or buying things for our fantasy self so much and spend less naturally as a result of that. So knowing and accepting ourselves and our preferences can help us make way more intentional decisions and also just feel more confident with who we are. Of course, it can be nice to experiment or go out of your comfort zone every once in a while, but I think it can also be really normal to kind of let most of the trends pass you by if it's not something that you know you will really like long term. And that's it, 20 frugal habits that I think we should normalize. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments if any of these resonated with you, or if you have some of your own to share, because I can easily think of 20 more, I think. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. This video was partly made possible by my channel supporters, so a huge thank you to everyone who already signed up to support my work. I make 2 extra videos every month for my channel supporters, and you can see them if you join either on Patreon or on YouTube memberships. I have both options available, but they are basically the same thing, the same extra videos and content. So it's just a matter of which platform you would prefer. And the income that I make from my channel supporters helps me to keep doing this as my job, to keep the channel going, to make these free videos for everyone here on YouTube. So a huge thank you to everyone. And if you are interested and able and willing to sign up, you can find the links in the description box. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And as always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again really soon with a new video. Bye-bye. So on my morning walk yesterday, I saw daffodils and they made me so happy. It's so nice to know that spring is coming. It is getting a little bit sunnier here, and no leaves on the trees yet, but I do hear the birds right now, so spring is coming.